Hello, everyone. My name is Mariana Moscoso. I'm the California Arts Council Arts and Corrections Program Manager.
And I am Roman Sanchez, the Arts and Corrections Program Analyst.
Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Before we formally begin, we want to acknowledge the Miwok, Nishinan, Maidu, and Patwin peoples as the traditional land caretakers of the land we now call Sacramento, the lands that the CAC office currently resides on. It is with immense respect we recognize the long-lasting detrimental impacts of colonization and honor the cultural contributions of Indigenous ancestors, elders, and relatives, past, present, and emerging.
So here is a brief summary of what we will be discussing today, our agenda. We'll talk about what is the Arts and Corrections Program, the past and present impacts of the program, GARE and a new program direction, and reimagining the future.
The California Arts Council is a state agency. Our mission is to advance California through the arts and creativity. Arts and Corrections is one of our many amazing programs. It is a program made possible through a partnership between our agency and the Division of Rehabilitative Programs at the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations, or CDCR. The Arts and Corrections Program administers arts programs in California state facilities in cultural, folk and traditional, literary, media, performing, and visual arts to individuals who are currently incarcerated. These programs are coordinated by many types of organizations, such as grassroots and nonprofit organizations, art units of government, and other entities.
Now, here is a little bit about our history and previous impact within this program. So we started in 1970. The Pilot Prison Arts Project was founded by both the William James Association and the California Arts Council. Since 2014, we have received countless anecdotal stories from past and present AIC participants recounting the impacts of the AIC program in their craft, in their lives, and in their well-being. In 2017, the AIC program expanded its arts programming to all 36 CDCR facilities. And in 2018, the AIC program diversified and grew its program. Now we'd like to share a video from one of our current coordinating organizations, the Alliance for California Traditional Arts, or ACTA.
Music as an escape to be able to express who you are. That's a beautiful thing. These programs really help. It's making a difference for people's lives, and it's an impressive program, the storytelling specific. It's a shame that they have to do this all along. I see myself in a lot of these homeboys here. I think we need to continue to invest in these types of programs because these are people. After so many years of all the madness being in the cell, it's nice to draw. I wish I could draw this picture without me wearing this prison shirt right here. If I keep taking these classes like this, it'll happen someday. If the department doesn't change into a real rehabilitative effort, we're not going to be able to put people back on the streets with skills that they need to succeed. We're talking about mental health impacts. We're talking about restorative and transformative processes. This provides a pathway towards healing. And this is what we have to do in these spaces. We have to facilitate healing in a very holistic way.
So since 2019, the CAC's AIC program has added 5 new AIC coordinating organizations to the cohort increase teaching hourly pay rates, and the opportunity for hourly travel stipends for arts providers, also the alternative name that we use for teaching artists, created a simplified request for proposal packet, including a new instructional video, additional question and answer periods, and submission templates. We included a feedback survey in the RFP to improve future RFP drafts, paid returned citizens, people that are formerly incarcerated, to advise panelists during the request for proposal evaluation panel, released and executed a program development RFP for special projects, training, and curriculum development. Now we would like to share with you a letter from a program participant who has now been released from California State Prison, LA County, also known as Lancaster.
The letter reads, Dear CAC, I'm writing this letter first and foremost to thank you for all the work you put into facilitating all the arts programs for arts and corrections. I began my prison term in 2001, and at that time, arts and corrections was non-existent. Since it has been reinstituted, I have had a wealth of positive experiences I wouldn't have had if not for participating in arts and corrections programs. I have witnessed great changes in myself and also in other individuals who have participated with me in various programs. Arts and corrections works.
Thus far, I've participated in 3 theater programs, currently in a 4th: jail guitar doors, creative writing, storytelling, and an African drum class. All of these programs have given me an outlet to express myself in new, creative ways, and from this, I have gained a self-confidence I never had before. All these programs challenge me to step outside of my comfort zone and imagine new possibilities for myself. And through these programs, I have also been able to see beyond the lines of race and affiliation that have kept me from interacting with other prisoners for the vast majority of time that I've been incarcerated. The road to rehabilitation truly began for me when I was introduced to the arts.
Of all the programs I've participated in, the one that has been the most impactful for me was the African drum class. For my entire life, I've identified as African American, yet I only know very little about what it means to be African. Oftentimes, I simply refer to myself as Black. I suppose it's because subconsciously, I've always felt disconnected. From my African heritage, I've read about African culture in books, but I've never had any firsthand experiences until I participated in the drum class. I came away from that experience feeling like I had to become a more complete person.
Dr. J instructs her class with an emphasis on communication. We were taught that the best way to play our drum was to listen as others played their own and to synchronize with them. As beginners, it was often difficult for us to catch on, but in those moments when we found our rhythm and were in sync with each other, we were able to create some of the most beautiful sounds I have ever heard. The takeaway for me was seeing that what could be cooperatively created when we begin by first listening to others. I realized that the basic principles we were being taught in the drum class were universally applicable.
In closing, I just want to thank you again for all the programs we receive. A very talented group of artists enter prisons all over the state every day, and we all benefit from their presence. Please continue. Sincerely, Anthony J. Coleman.
It is testimonies like Anthony's, along with our agency's racial equity work, that has inspired us to think deeper about the future of the AIC program and the potentiality of its impact.
We'd now like to direct you to this quote from Dr. Angela Davis, who says, "The prison functions ideologically as an abstract site into which undesirables are deposited, relieving us of the responsibility of thinking about the real issues afflicting those communities from which prisoners are drawn in such disproportionate numbers. This is the ideological work that the prison performs. It relieves us of the responsibility of seriously engaging with the problems of our society, especially those produced by racism.
In other words, this quote by Dr. Angela Davis asks us to think about the issues and problems that lead individuals into prison and the importance of holding our society accountable for the inequities produced by racism.
GARE is the abbreviation for Government Alliance on Race and Equity, an initiative of the state urging agencies to remember their responsibility of serving all people. The CAC is part of the original cohort of 19 agencies and departments that partook in this learning opportunity, the first state in the United States to lead this effort with race. Arts and Corrections serves primarily communities of color, and we partner with CDCR to bring the focus on equity. Moving forward, as part of our GARE Racial Equity Plan, we are changing the language and expanding our services so more people have the capacity to express themselves through art.
So why change the program name? Well, language is powerful. It has the ability to change our world. And because the program name, Arts and Corrections, identifies people experiencing incarceration by their condition, our goal is to focus on humanizing people inside instead. With this in mind, we believe it is possible to create a culture shift in our society by reimagining our language and understanding the history of incarceration, which has primarily targeted communities of color, in particular, African American, Black communities. Our goal is to incorporate asset-based language, which means we focus on the positive outcomes of the program. We now refer to our participants as people experiencing incarceration and have removed the word inmate and offender from our vocabulary. By changing our programmatic language, we realize we can no longer be Arts and Corrections because we no longer believe this name fits the direction we are headed. This has become because corrections focuses on the punitive environment rather than the person's potential to transform their own life. But we need you, our community, to help us change the name.
In Adrienne Marie Brown's book, Emergent Strategy, she articulates how the small represents the large. This correlates with our program, how a prison is a microcosm of our society. So, what does this tell us about ourselves? The US currently imprisons people, branding it under the message that by doing so, it makes us safe. When in reality, racial inequities are built into the systems that involve this community, including shaming, isolation, poverty, and violence. Restorative justice asks people to be accountable for harm and trauma that they have caused. Transformative justice models address harm and violence before it happens. Examples of these models can be seen with the Diné or Navajo people in their peacemaking and restorative practices, both in the past and present. We strive to create an accountable society that still provides safety and benefit for all Californians and hopefully beyond. The arts programming inside prisons provides a space for people experiencing incarceration to reclaim ownership of their own experiences, to be accountable for their actions, and to reimagine future possibilities of themselves and the world. We believe that we had to unlearn punishment and humanize people inside prisons. The arts are merely one tool to achieve our ultimate goal of liberation for all people. We believe that art reminds people of their internal power, their agency. It gives them a space to create new possibilities of the world and for themselves, And this is a great first step towards our collective liberation.
The approach to the name change is layered. We started by conducting a few community questionnaires to gather data. Currently, we have an open survey to the public to obtain more program name ideas. Some of the examples of preliminary responses we received are below. Transformative arts, liberate art, just create. In late March, we will gather the data received from our online survey to hold focus group of program participants and share the findings. Ultimately, they will vote to select the program's new name. Working together, inside and outside, we uplift the voices of the people inside California state facilities, so they become the action that is the transformation of their own lives. This is why it is important for you to submit your program name ideas. Art is the work of imagination. Reimagining our collective future means we must all engage in seeing how each of our futures are tied to one another. As you think of name possibilities, think back to the quote by Dr. Angela Davis shared earlier in this webinar. If the prison is a place that relieves us of our collective responsibility to engage with society's problems, how can arts and corrections become a tool to solve them? What new name could embody this goal? The first step of art creation is to be brave to imagine possibilities. I hope today you will join us in this journey to think beyond recidivism as a measure of this program's success. We want to offer the possibility to imagine beyond a culpable individual and imagine the possibility to transform and heal, to imagine the program's measure of success that holds our society accountable for systemic and institutional harm caused by racism, which impacts everybody. So with this, we ask you to reimagine our collective future within AIC and beyond, where we co-create a society for all people, liberated people, where everyone is safe, happy, and experiences health and well-being. All of us creating the greatest art program there has ever been, a world beyond prisons.
Thank you so much for taking the time to imagine a radical future and all of the possibilities. Please fill out our name change survey at the link here, and please share with your networks. If you have any questions, please email the emails that you see under the contact information, or leave a comment in this chat. Again, thank you and happy Wednesday.
Thank you.